Hey gang, welcome to the Friday edition of the podcast. This is letter number 12. I wrote this around 6 months ago. It's all about the dangers of entrepreneurship. The James Sinclair Letter, number 12. Hey gang, it's another week done. Time flies when you're deep in the trenches. I felt it this week more than most. I'm certainly feeling more challenged than I usually do. I'm starting to think, is it worth it? The answer is, of course it is. It's what we do. A funny thing about seeking success and climbing mountains is this. If you're like me, you don't give up. When you don't give up, you can't fail. Pretty insane, right? In this letter, I wish to share with you another curse, a curse that haunts me every day. The curse that is broken windows and the peril of size in repairing said windows. Ambition is usually the tonic that the successful have in a much greater volume than your average Joe. People all have some degree of ambition. A few knocks test just how much you have. The level that we choose to be tested to, then recover or indeed overcome brushes with failure, is the evidence needed to depict true greatness in business ownership. Few make it, most fail, or find solace in a comfortable life. I think I'm made to find comfort in feeling uncomfortable. That's a third curse, certainly for my wife, who has to put up with seeing the real dark times that come to me 3 or 4 times a year. She has to grapple with the silence when I'm deep in a trench. I go quiet and lonely, wandering through my mind on an endless merry-go-round, pondering how I'll navigate the next storm. I'm usually in a boat not suited to sail the storm. Often I'm in a raft of my own creation, wishing I was on a giant tanker that can ride the waves with ease. I love to remind entrepreneurs of the philosophy of the late Steve Jobs. He always said most give up because they're sane. If you're a little insane and want more, and maybe like me, you get excited about who you'll become on the way to growth, keep reading or keep listening, sailor, as I divulge more. Personally, I can't wait to meet the me running a £100 million company and the me running a £1 billion company. Deep down, that's the bit that excites me the most. That said, before you commit, there is some insanity to long-term wealth and success. And there's trade-offs, many trade-offs. Here are a few that I've discovered. Responsibility. Your lack of closeness in your circle of friendship changes. You'll have new friends. High blood pressure, stress, anxiety, cash flow pressures, theft, deceit. You'll be signing personal guarantees, borrowing millions, sacrifice of your youth to work on building the thing that you really want to grow. Working in your head even if your body is not present. Basically, always being on. Understanding that everything's your fault even when it's not. Guilt for not being around when you take downtime. Wishing that you were better. And there's way more, but this should get you going. Effectively, you're a magician conjuring up sales, motivation, ideas, people, systems, and cash flow. You'll be pulling a rabbit out of a hat more times than you think could be even possible. And you'll be doing that every day. I've pulled so many rabbits out of hats over the years. I confess when things have been really tough, I've also had to pull a few hairs out of my arse too. The hard truth is entrepreneurship is never complete. You're never done. You're only as good as your last trick. Sure, some things get easier with skill and time in the game. Nothing helps more than muscle memory and experience. A seasoned expert of anything will tell you this. As you grow and welcome some sun rays of success in your life, you'll eventually be able to bask in your glory. You'll have more people, more cash flow. And if playing the game correctly, you'll be helping yourself to the best magic of all, profit. Watch out though, danger sleeps here, waiting to wake. So why is this dangerous? Well, the answer, dear reader and listener, is that with scale and establishment, businesses can get fat on complacency. They risk losing urgency or stop innovating, leading to broken windows and, like many magicians, just using the same old tricks that no one wants to see anymore. Just like a headliner performing their grand finale, you reveal your last ensemble, the one your audience always loves, your greatest hit. You wait for their applause, but the marketplace discovers that there's a new act in town, the latest whippersnapper wanting a slice of your audience. They'll focus on detail and innovation. They always do, just like you used to do when you first started. Look what Apple did to Sony. Sony got complacent. So remember this phrase. If you don't innovate, you evaporate. You must invest. You must keep an eye on the little things. Every Saturday, I trundle around our venues and sites, taking hundreds of photos. I watch our teams and eagerly look for broken windows. There are always so many little idiosyncrasies and things that give me the heebie-jeebies. Growth has caused some of my standards to slip. It's my job to point them out constantly. I sometimes pinch myself with the sheer size of what we've become, but now I've become like an auditor for a day. I get so frustrated with little details being missed. I'm like a horse with an itchy nose. Just can't scratch it, can you? I have to report it and tell my teams we must do better. We can't allow sloppy standards. People will stop coming. Then we can't pay for wages and invest, and then we're done. When you see these broken windows, try and repair them quickly, super quickly. This week, I saw a member of one of our teams not in uniform. I was furious. How could we let that happen? Excuse-itis came in on why it happened. It was a new member of staff and we hadn't had time to sort things out. And I'm like, no. This is so bad. This tiny little broken window, if not fixed, leads to a blown off roof and water flooding in. They start so small and then can explode in enormity. Too many broken windows lead to even bigger damage and even more sloppy standards. Your people will just accept sloppy. Here are some of my latest findings when I was going around my businesses. Weeds not weeded, sloppy uniforms, deliveries where customers can see. I mean, don't put the delivery in the entrance. People spending money with you don't want to see it. Products not priced up, dust in areas. We just don't want to see that, thank you very much. Teams not doing the right things because they haven't been managed effectively. Not enough product out, faded signage, pen marks on tables from customers, signage missing, dodgy upholstery, some dead bushes not being removed. Oh, there was so much more. On the topic of weeds from one of our stores, the excuse was, we're waiting on maintenance. Now, if this was an owner managed business, they don't have maintenance. You just say to the team members on a quiet spell, right, gang, let's weed for 5 minutes. Problem solved. Excuse-itis is everywhere and it spreads like, well, weeds. There are many more things that I could say, but the above are all the little things that cost us nothing. These trivial things don't immediately cause losses, but too many can make a big difference. Yes, do the big stuff, the refurbishment, the investment, the technological innovation, but nothing impresses a customer like knowing their name and how they have their cup of tea before they ask. The little things are hard to keep an eye on as you grow, but if you create a system to do this, you'll win the day, my son. Now, I'm James. To your continued success. See you soon. Well, there you have it, gang. Broken windows are a big thing that I always notice in my businesses. I stayed in our hotel at the weekend and I like staying in our hotel and I noticed little tiny things that annoy me. There wasn't enough pictures on the wall to soften the upholstery. The tie backs had slightly moved and there was some damaged paint. There wasn't bottles of water in the room. And I sort of fed all that back and said, oh, what can we do to make this better? And blah, blah, blah. Look for those tiny little details because they compound in success in your business. I always think about a restaurant that I used to go to called Alvaro's. Fantastic restaurant. Hadn't had a refurb in 35 years, but they knew your name. They knew how you liked things. They would pull the chair out as you sat down. They would hang your coat up. They would ask how your life is, and they would remember birthdays and your grandchildren's name and all of that good stuff. And that compound of customer service, all those little things that cost them nothing, gave them dividends in customer loyalty and return customers. You had to book like 6-9 months in advance to get in. So look for those little wins in your business. Look for repairing broken windows, and I think you'll get huge returns. I'm James. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, if you want to get the written version of this letter, it comes out every Monday morning at 7 a.m. and you can subscribe to the newsletter as it comes out 7 a.m. on my website, jamessinclair.net. And I'll be in your inbox 7 a.m. Monday morning to help grow your business. So you continue success. Bye-bye.